Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of World Talks here on TVP World, where every word matters. I'm host Benjamin Lee, and please join me and my guests on this exclusive interview. As Poland celebrates Aviation Day, marking the rich history and heroism of its Air Force, the country finds itself on high alert due to intensified Russian air activity over Ukraine. With Poland's Air Force recently scrambling F-16 fighter jets in response to Russia's large-scale missile assaults on Ukraine, the significance of Aviation Day extends beyond mere commemoration. Now, it underscores the critical role of aviation in national security and the broader Central and Eastern European region's stability. Joining us today on TVP World to explore the implications of these developments and how they resonate with Poland's aviation legacy is Damian Ratka, Senior Editor of Defense 24. Hello, sir, and welcome to TVP World.
Good morning.
So can you tell us first what is the historical significance of Aviation Day in Poland and how is it being celebrated today?
Well, aviation is very important for all modern armies around the globe. So Polish aviation is very significant, starting from the 1920 war with Bolshevik Russia. So this was the beginning of the Polish Air Forces. And obviously, Polish Air Forces have very rich history, including fighting in the Western Europe. The Battle of the Britain is one of the best examples of participation of the Polish Air Forces. And how it's being celebrated in Poland. So obviously, this is celebrations mostly within the armed forces. There will be definitely probably some overflights with fighter jets, and we'll see how it will going on this year.
And with the recent scrambling of Polish fighter jets, how does that reflect the current security situation in the region?
Well, the security situation is very difficult. On the one hand, we have constant bombardments of Ukraine by the Russian air forces. So from time to time, a missile or a drone can breach the Polish airspace or airspace of other NATO and European allies. On the other hand, because we are not at war at the moment, the procedures do not permit Polish Air Forces to simply shut down any unknown aerial contact that is breaching the airspace. So the situation is difficult. We already had an accident where people were killed, unfortunately. Hopefully, the current operations by the Polish Air Forces are mitigating that danger.
Right, we're talking about the situation between Russia and Ukraine. I'm very curious about how, whether or not the Polish aviation industry or the Air Force have any changes and adapt to what's happening in Ukraine since the war broke out in 2022.
Oh, definitely. Besides 48 F-16 fighter jets that were procured at the beginning of the 21st century, the Polish Air Forces are constantly being modernized. So, on the one hand, we are procuring the modern fighter jets like the F-35. Polish Air Forces also procured light trainer and fighter jets from Korea, the Fa-50. And on the other hand, there is a lot of procurement of anti-air and anti-missile defense systems like the Patriot within Wisła's program, like the British CAM missile for the Narew system, and of course there is a lot of domestic anti-air systems, starting with manpads like Grom and Piorun. And then there's, of course, a very strong Polish industry producing sensors like radars and passive detection systems.
All right, with all these procurement, like you mentioned, a lot of F-16s, we got F-35s, and now we've also added a bunch of Apache helicopters into the Air Force. But I'm also wondering whether or not with these rapid procurements, Poland do have the personnel that has expertise in flying these machines and maintaining them.
Well, when it comes to Apache attack helicopters, these are not procured for the air forces, but for the ground forces, because ground forces have their own aviation based on helicopters. When it comes to personnel, the Polish army is growing. Right now, it's over 200,000. So I think it is possible that proper personnel will be found. The first pilots for the F-35 fighter jets are already selected and are undergoing training in the United States. Same goes for the ground personnel to support these machines. So over time, I think that when it comes to personnel, there should not be a problem with recruitment.
Right, and in your own observation, if you were to point out something that stands out in Polish Air Force compared to other countries, are there anything kind of special that you can tell us?
Well, when it comes to air defense, definitely the system for missile and air defense that is being right now built in Poland is something unique among NATO allies, because this is the first so large multi-layer air defense system. It's based on the United States IBCS command and control system that will command over many different launch systems like Patriot, like CAM, like Polish systems. It will also be able to control the aviation, so different fighter jets. And also we need to remember that the Polish air defense system is not only based on foreign procurement, but a lot on domestic systems like radars. I mentioned before, Poland is one of the larger and more advanced radar producer in the Europe and probably in the world. One of the most interesting systems that is developed by the Polish industry is a passive location system. So you can call it a passive radar. So it is not emitting any radiation. It is very difficult to detect. And it can detect emissions and radiations from, for example, enemy aircraft from a very long range.
Right, that sounds very impressive. And with these unique air defense system, with this new radar system, and adding to the unique geographical position within NATO, how can you elaborate on the role that Poland's Air Force would have within the NATO alliance, especially in light of recent Russian activities?
Well, Poland, because it will have one of the larger, if not the largest fleet of fighter jets in near future. So we talk here about 48 F-16s, 32 F-35s, and a supporting fleet of 48 F-A-50s. Will provide not only security in the air domain for Poland, but also for other NATO allies in Europe. Poland is already providing, for example, air policing missions for the Baltic states. So I think that Poland will definitely have a very large and important role in the defense of the NATO eastern flank.
All right, of course. And well, recently, going back to the situation about Russian drones and missiles flying over the Polish airspace, we do see a rapid scrambling of jets, which does show its commitment and also the capability of the Polish Air Force. However, they chose not to shoot down any of these bogies flying into the airspace. Do you think that also shows kind of hesitancy?
This happens because we are not at war, and procedures demand visual identification of such a threat to be certain that it's not, for example, a civilian aircraft. And this is a very problematic because before the visual confirmation can be obtained by, for example, fighter jets, such object can, for example, crash in woods or in the fields near the eastern border of Poland. And simply intercepting such object for visual confirmation might be very difficult. Radars see them much more earlier, but without visual confirmation, shooting such object might be very dangerous for civilian population as well.
I see. And so, going forward, what challenges do you see Poland face in maintaining and advancing its military aviation capabilities?
Well, the biggest problem is always costs. Modern aircraft are not cheap. However, Poland procuring aircrafts that are mass-produced, we talk here about F-16, which is one of the most mass-produced fighter jets in the world. Then we procured F-35s, and right now I believe Lockheed Martin delivered first 1,000 aircraft to their customers. So here, because of the economy of scale, the cost of operation of such aircraft is definitely going down, which is a good thing. Besides procuring US aircraft, this also means that we are inside the huge logistic chain of the US Air Force, which is also reducing the cost of operation of such aircraft.
And do you think eventually the older kind of Soviet-style jets like the MiGs, the Sus will slowly be phased out, or do they still have a place in the Polish Air Force? We do know that Zelensky has been asking for these aircraft. Do you think there will be a point where we probably rotate those out to Ukraine?
Yes, definitely. We cannot maintain them any longer because there is a problem with spare parts. Some spare parts are made by the Polish industry, however, the major ones were never produced in Poland, and we needed to import them, for example, from Russia in the past. Right now, obviously, importing these parts from Russia is impossible for obvious reasons. So this aircraft needs to be replaced as soon as possible. Hopefully, soon we will start replacing them with more F-35s. The first F-35s for Poland will have rollout today in the United States. And obviously we are also procuring F-A-50 light fighters from Korea. They will also provide us capability to replace, for example, Su-22 fighter bombers that are even more obsolete than MiG-29s.
Right, so we are seeing the Polish Air Force kind of upgrade itself in real time as we speak. Very exciting stuff there. Thank you so much for your input and insight. Thanks for being with us on TVP World, and happy Aviation Day.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching this edition of World Talks. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.